This is Indiana in the Morning, presented by First Commonwealth Bank on the Voice of Indiana County, WCCS AM 1160 and 101.1 FM. And our interviews at this time are brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. On the line with us right now, State Senator Joe Pittman. And Joe, it is good to hear from you once again. How was your holiday, sir?
Good morning, Josh, and Merry Christmas to you. The holiday was great, thankfully. We had a good Christmas and looking forward to a Happy New Year.
I think a lot of us are looking forward to a Happy New Year, but how is that going to translate into your work as state senator? What are you expecting to see in the state senate as we go into 2021?
Well, I certainly expect to see a lot. Everything from the need to tackle election reform to make sure that the inconsistencies that occurred since November 3rd don't happen again. And even in the months leading up to it, with the Supreme Court rulings and the decisions made by the governor on certain processes on elections, that's going to be a big issue. The issue of the carbon tax is still out there. The public comment period for that is open currently. I expect that we'll be moving constitutional amendments very quickly to bring balance back to the governor's executive authority during emergency declarations. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we have the COVID response generally and how all of that ties into our economic outlook and our budget, which will be due July 1st. So it's going to be an intense year. It's full of significant issues, but I'm looking forward to taking the oath of office on January 5th and doing my part to try and tackle them in a productive way.
You talked about, of course, the Reggie dispute. Of course, that would negatively affect a lot of people here in Indiana County. But we had an article recently talking about the response so far, and I guess the best thing we can do is to continue to encourage people to respond to that, to put out those comments and make sure that their voice is heard, no matter where they're from in the county.
Correct. The comment period has been challenged this year because of COVID. Typically, anytime there's a regulation like this, the Department of Environmental Protection will come into communities, have public hearings physically in the communities, do it during the evenings whenever those who are working have the opportunity to make comment. All of that's gone away. It's all been done virtually. What you see is a lot of formatted and canned responses to the regulation, and candidly, those who are most affected are doing their job and don't have the opportunity to submit comment in the way of personal testimony. But written comment will continue to be accepted up until January 14th. There's multiple ways to do that, through the mail, on the website, or even by email. All of that you can find on my email or my website, senatorpittman.com, and pull that information up and submit comments.
So, Reggie, obviously one of the goals for you this year. What are some of your other goals? What are some of the other things that you want to work on personally?
Well, election reform is a huge issue. We need to bring consistency back to the process. We have a state Supreme Court that issued a court ruling that the word shall doesn't mean shall anymore. The election law is very clear that voters shall sign and date ballots, absentee ballots. And the state Supreme Court said shall doesn't really mean that they must date them, and they allowed several ballots to be counted as a result. To me, that's unacceptable, and they point to what they believe is ambiguity in the election law. Well, then I guess we need to go in and make it even tighter. But to me, shall is a pretty simple word that means must. And for the Supreme Court to alter that, I think, was wrong. We also have the situation where ballots were allowed to be counted 3 days after the election. Mm-hmm. Now, those are currently been set aside from the ruling of the U.S. Supreme Court, But the fact remains that our state courts have said that governors have the flexibility to change that deadline unilaterally, which I just simply can't accept. The purpose of choosing the time, manner, and place of an election is held within the legislature, and the point of doing it through election law is to keep those rules consistent and uniform across all 67 counties in the Commonwealth, and that's not what we have. So that has to be a big issue that we attempt to address.
2020 has been seen as the year we'd very much like to forget, but we are seeing things coming around the bend that are more positive. I mean, with the first round of vaccines coming into IRMC, for example. Other things, of stories of people helping others, especially through the programs for, like the United Ways program, for example, that's going to help out groups that are helping with emergency food and shelter options. Are you seeing any positives coming into 2021 that you're looking forward to addressing, some positive things in the Senate?
Well, I do think we have to be more positive overall. It is amazing to me to think that science has been able to deliver a vaccine as quickly as it has. We have an excellent healthcare system here in our community. Unlike the springtime closures, this winter, there's no doubt that our hospital systems statewide have been more strained, and their ability to respond to this in the way they have, I think, has been a real positive. And the overall generosity of the community. I mean, there are some areas that have been hit very hard, particularly in the restaurant industry, and you see a lot of people moving to order takeout, to give extra tips to support the employees in those businesses. And I think we do have to, keep in mind that we are a community that needs to work together and understand that we all have a different pair of shoes that we're wearing in terms of how this pandemic has impacted us and our families individually. And I'm optimistic by nature. I want to be optimistic. I need to be optimistic, and right. I feel we will turn the corner on this, and we just need to approach this with a balanced mindset, try to take the politicization out of all of this, particularly even in the mask-wearing debate, and try to move forward in everybody's best interest.
So a lot to look forward to as you start your next term of office here in the state Senate, and definitely a lot to look forward to in 2021. Senator Pittman, thank you very much for joining us once again here on Indiana in the Morning. All the best to you and your family as you enter into 21. May it be a happy, safe, and healthy New Year, sir.
Same to you, Josh. Best to your family, and Happy New Year to you and all your listeners.
All right, thanks again. Senator Joe Pittman joining us this morning on Indiana in the Morning, presented by First Commonwealth Bank. And our interview segments are presented by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people.